I'm back, baby. Welcome back to 1000 Days in Modded Hardcore. Finally, a video series inspired by Luke the Notable. I have a lot of things to talk about before this video starts. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. This could be the final 1000 days, unless you guys want me to go to 2000 days. And I'll be honest, I really do. I haven't finished most of my projects yet, so please smash like. If we smash 69,000 likes, then I'm gonna go on till 2000 days. Nonetheless, if you guys are new here, I recommend watching the previous 900 days, but it's okay if you haven't. And before the video starts, I have 3 major announcements. No, 4, 5. Bruh. 1, our Minecraft server has finally come out. Socks.gg. It's out. Like, look at it. Look how amazing it is. We got 3 game modes available right now: Factions, Kit PvP, and Sock Wars. That's right. It's Sky Wars, but with a huge twist on it. The website is also socks.gg. You go there, you can join our forums, you can join the Discord, become part of the community. This is a really big day. Huge shout out to our staff team, our development team, our helpers, everybody. We've been working months on this server, and it's finally out. So yeah, socks.gg. After you finish this video, bam, go play that. Have fun. Oh, our 1 million golden plaque came in. Thank you guys so much. Let's go for 2 million, baby. Announcement number 2 is actually on the series itself. I will actually talk about this after the video because it has to do with the series itself and a couple mods like EMC. So if you're interested about that, just watch till the end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video because it's a really good one. And remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Previously. On the last 100 days, I started putting tracks around my base for the beginning of our train station. I explored a lot of new areas like this aqua dimension and even defeating its boss. I finally finished up my farm, so that was working at 100%, and even made this plastic factory so I could start getting a lot of plastic. I left off by flying off to the moon because we were gonna make a moon base. It went successfully, and that was the end of 900 days. This was it. It was day 900, and we were still on the moon from our last mission. I decided to fly back home because my moon base was working, but not finished. Something I can work on 2000 days, hopefully. When I was parachuting down to my base, it just came to me that I forgot to get the most important thing on the moon, and that was a blueprint for a tier 2 rocket so I could go to Mars. And that can only be found in the moon dungeon, so that meant I have to go back to the moon if I ever want to go to Mars. Nonetheless, on day 901, I started flying around the base, and I had to decide what I was gonna do for these 100 days, and there was just so much to do. I decided where better to start than making a new weapon. Not just any weapon, a nuclear death ray. I thought it was a great idea because I already had most of the machinery here when I was crafting up the minigun. It should be pretty easy to make, or at least I thought. I was dead wrong. It ended up taking me 7 days to make this weapon. I learned quickly that I didn't have the necessary machines to make this weapon. I had to make a fabricator, whatever that is. After metal pressing all these different metals, I was able to make myself this, a fabricator. What does it do? I don't know. Turns out it is used to make the ammunition of my nuclear death ray. Oh, that's funny. How is that useful now when I don't even have the weapon yet? It didn't stop there. I also had to make another machine called the reaction chamber. And sadly, I didn't have the materials to make this machine yet. I had to go back to the nether and minigun all these little demon soldiers all over the place because they dropped this little cyborg part that I need in order to make this reaction chamber. I don't know why I'm being so sarcastic. I'm honestly glad that I can use my minigun to do this because it just makes my job so much easier. But boom, I got all the parts that I need, and I crafted up the parts for this little reaction chamber, and I started putting it together. This doesn't look like no reaction chamber. It's just oh, it transforms. The fun didn't stop there because I had no idea how to use this thing. And in the wiki in bright red, it said, "Be careful, has a chance to explode." That's not really what I want to be hearing right now, especially now that I'm putting power in this machine. I had to put water in it to stabilize it, and luckily all these mods work together, so all these pipes and all these stuff, they just connect together, which made my life a lot easier. So now to see if it worked, I was gonna put uranium in this reaction chamber to see if it does its magical stuff, and it didn't. Turns out I put way too much water in there, so it just didn't do its magical thing. This time I put the right amount of water and the uranium in there, and boom, it was doing its magical boom boom zoom boom stuff. And that was the final step. All I had to do is put that green uranium stuff in those bullets, and boom, nuclear death ray. Haha. And I waited till the morning of the next day on day 909, and I crafted up 3 of them for no reason. And it was time to test them all out. Poor little butterfly. Other than my aim, this thing honestly just disintegrates everything. I was trying to find myself some mafia bees to test this out, but these clowns work as well, and honestly it takes like 2 seconds till they fall. Oh, hello villagers, is this your town? I'm so sorry I have to do this. I apologize. Please forgive me. It's all gonna be okay. On day 910, I didn't know where to go with my new weapon, so I decided why not just work out my base. The goal was to have a statue of me on top of my base, but in order to do that, I gotta make sure it's right in the middle so it's even. I had to count how big this box was, that way I could find the middle, but after counting on both sides, I got two different centers, so I counted wrong on one side and I didn't know which. Before I was able to finish it, I had a blood moon, which was actually great because I wanted to test out this weapon more. And yo, did I go crazy, but I didn't fire it for too long because the ammunition for this gun is really expensive. But the blood moon did me good because now I know where I wanted to go. I want to go back to the Twilight Dimension because I still had a lot of bosses to beat there. Next day is a day that will always be in our hearts, but also the day where I load up my miniguns and my nuclear death ray, because we're going straight to the Twilight Dimensions to fight the rest of the bosses. The last boss I beat in the Twilight Dimension was the Hydra, the three-headed dragon. I thought the next boss would be in the snow biome, but the snow was raining hard, so that meant I wasn't supposed to be here. I did find these very adorable penguins though. Look at how cute they are. Look at that. I went back to my base to regroup real quick and check the achievement tab, and it looks like I had to do a couple other things before I could go into the snow biome. On day 912, my objective was to find this very dark forest because that was my next mission. I came across another wizard tower, so I just decided to fight him to test out my weapon. Honestly, it wasn't that effective, or the Lich King was just stronger than I remembered. But as soon as his little tiny shields were destroyed, his health went down in like 2 seconds. And then I kept on adventuring out until I found the dark forest because supposedly that's where the next boss is. I've been searching for a while and I thought I missed it, but then I saw it and it was like, no way I could have missed that. That is a really dark forest and very spooky. I went inside and I couldn't see anything. It was completely pitch black and this was a terrible idea. I headed back to my base and I thought the best way to deal with the dark forest was just making night vision potions. So that's what I did. I just made some default Minecraft vanilla night vision potions. Before I went back to the Twilight Dimension, I made sure to grab all my trophies from my previous bosses because turns out I'll need them in order to open up some sort of secret door, so I couldn't wait. The night vision potions were a big brain move by me because now I could just go through the forest like it was nothing. I mean, it was like day. I didn't know exactly what I was looking for, but I did find this like sort of stone brick kind of thing, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, secret dungeon, what? And even better, this secret dungeon had some sort of door and some sort of altar showing all the trophy heads, so big brain socks for one. I placed the Hydra head trophy on this little altar, and what? Magic door opens? Amazing. I would just like to state I really dislike mazes, but this wasn't really a maze. It was just kind of like interesting rooms right next to each other. It was kind of weird. And the mobs were even weirder. Like, what are those? Like slimes with big butts throwing slime balls at me? That's some wacky stuff, bro. Then there were these soldiers with shields, and they were completely immune to my ray and even my minigun? Hold up. Wait a minute. You just violated the law. That just breaks every single rule ever. I ain't dumb though, and I realized they're just immune to range damage, so I just waited and they just started falling into their own lava pit. Yeah, who's the tough one now? And I just kept on moving through the dungeon, and honestly it was pretty big and there's a lot of weird mobs. Oh, I did find the boss room eventually. I mean, I think it had these like iron bars. I mean, that has to be a boss room, right? I mean, 2 layers of iron bars, that's a boss room. Oh, hello green men. These guys were no bosses, but they were definitely cool. They like did this cool wave effect and they like floated and everything and threw axes. I mean, it was pretty cool. Not that tough to the great socks for one though. I just pickaxed all of them. I really like the loot as well because it came with the helmets that they were wearing, and those helmets were very epic. So yes, I was happy. I kept on looking around the dungeon and there was nothing else, so I decided, hey, maybe that was it, and I just left. On day 914, I decided, hey, why not just fly over the forest? Maybe there was something else, and there was. A castle started to appear, and I was like, yup, that's a boss battle right there. That is definitely a boss battle. Yes, I could probably just fly all the way to the top of the tower and fight whatever boss is there, but what's the fun in that? I decided I was gonna go through the entire castle like a champ and not use flying at all. Oh my goodness, did you hear that? These doors are amazing. Oh, do you hear that? That is so satisfying the way they open. They go like... But anyway, I made a rule with myself not to fly at all, and I was just gonna go through all these puzzles and arena like I just couldn't fly, which I was kind of happy with because most of it was just kind of opening doors and stuff. I mean, I think this was a maze. I'm not sure. I just kept on opening doors. The higher I went up the towers, there were bigger rooms, and some had like mob spawners with blazes, and the other had these like weird spiders like with little squares on them. There was even this mob that was like an angry iron golem. Like, look at those eyes, pure rage. Luckily, I brought my flamethrower. I kept on climbing, and boom, I came across the top of one of the towers, and oh, that is horrible. That ghast is extra scary. I also saw my objective here, that my goal was to reach the middle tower and go all the way to the top, and I still had ways to go. Oh, and this ghast, yeah, I just deleted him. Wait for it. Wait for it. Ah. As I progressed higher and more in the middle, there was harder and harder mobs, like this beetle thing that was like eating me alive. Like, get off me, man. Ever heard of social distancing? Come on. I probably spent about 2 more days in this castle. I mean, it was kind of getting annoying. Like, I opened doors and it just took me nowhere. We were going higher though, and we were getting these new challenges. So I mean, I wouldn't even consider this a challenge. I don't even know what this was. This wasn't even parkour or anything. It was just parkour, I guess. I don't know. The main middle tower was in sight though. I was this close, man. I could taste it. I could taste it. And I think I made it to the middle tower because the parkour got really weird and the challenges even weirder. There were even mini gasps all over the place. Like, that's kind of funny. How these challenges would work is that I would pull this lever and it would create this like red road and I would have to follow it. Eventually it would end and I would have to find a new location to jump to, which would be this platform right over there. And yeah, I would just slowly progress to the top. I reached this ladder and when I got on top of it, there was this crafting table with some recipes. There was also these pistons here surrounding this netherrack obsidian thing. I mean, what am I witnessing right now? Like, what is the point of this? Well, I'll tell you what the purpose is. It's just being epic because when you pull the levers, boom, golden diamonds happens. But wait, it is fake and it looks like it's about to corrupt and explode, make weird noises. What is it doing? It's Minecraft glitching out. It's error XE. I don't know. That's epic. That's cool. Okay. And goodbye, mini gas. I'm deleting you now. I also ended up crafting those things near the crafting bench. And guess what it made? Those really cool boxes that disappear when you click them. So, wow. It actually taught me how to make them. So, I'm very happy. As I progressed higher and higher in the tower, there was more of these glitchy things. So, I just made sure to witness it every time because it looks really cool. Day 917. This could have all been done in 2 minutes if I just flew on top. But, whoa, that is one big gas. And, oh, he is wormy. I mean army. Might be a little over-prepared for the fight though because the damage from my weapons do a little too much. I brought him down to as low as I could without killing him and he got like really angry, like he had like a second form. He just kept on swimming around in the sky all over the place and making weird noises. Oh, and lightning. That's pretty spooky. Oh, what is that red stuff, man? Is he doing that? Turns out that red stuff was from this machine. I don't know what's up, and you are so creepy. Goodbye. And yeah, look at this machine. It's called Gas Trap, and it looks like it traps gas. Yeah, I'm taking that home with me. Oh, and congratulations, Socks for One. Put those hands together. You just beaten the Your Gas boss. How do you feel? I feel pretty amazing, Socks for One, and I feel even better that I did this without flying. So, haha. And I wreaked havoc to the rest of the gas around the castle. The next day, I was still feeling pretty good, so I decided, why go back? Let's go fight the rest of the bosses. I went back to the snow biome because I had a feeling that the snow wouldn't be there anymore, and I was right. So that meant the next boss was here. These Yeti guys just look so funny. I don't know what it is, their faces or what. They just look. When I was exploring the snow biome, I came across this really weird castle, but it had those green particle effects, so that meant I couldn't go here yet. I wonder what boss this is gonna be. Maybe it's like a demon penguin overlord or something. But I went back to the trees and snow area until I found this cave, because that's where this alpha Yeti is gonna be at. And I could see him. Look at him just sitting there in the cave. He looks so funny. I don't know what it is with these designs. He just looks so funny. I just couldn't take this fight seriously. I think he was doing some sort of attack, but it looked like he was just dancing at me or something. Like, I'm pretty sure he was a mini boss because I just used my flamethrower and he fell after a little bit. And since I was already in the cave, I just released all my flamethrower rage on all these Yetis. A cool drop I got from that Yeti was this alpha Yeti fur that can be turned into some pretty cool looking armor, I have to say. And on day 919, I was assuming that this green little blue area was now available, and it was, so I could just walk right in. I apologize for not taking night vision, but this castle was a lot smaller, and there were stairs going all the way up, and there were these weird snowflakes all over the place. I mean, that was pretty much most of the castle. It was just me going upstairs and snowflakes. Oh, and I almost forgot. You remember that dungeon in that spooky forest with those green guys? Well, I ended up putting on their helmet, and yo, do I look cool. Everything was the same until I reached this ice, and I was like, hey, maybe this is the boss room. And then I saw the spawner, and then my hopes just fell because I thought it was just another mob room, but boom! The spawner was actually the boss. I was not expecting this. I was expecting a penguin overlord, but this snow queen works as well. She was flying on this piece of ice like that Mario mob character that no one likes. And my flamethrower attacks were not doing anything, so I started to worry. But that's when I realized you're not supposed to hit the ice. You're supposed to hit the actual snow queen. So, haha, I found your weakness. I ended up not simping for the snow queen and defeated her. And it was actually kind of a tough battle. She took a lot of hits. And voila, another round of applause for you, Soccer One. You've beaten another boss, and all your backpacks are full, so I think it's a good time to go back home. I'm still a little upset that it wasn't a penguin overlord, but what can you do? On day 920, from returning from my base, I did get this new weapon from that fight called a tri-bow, and you won't believe what it does. It shoots tri-arrows. I mean 3 arrows. This gave me an idea that I really need to make something in my base that will allow me to test out all these different weapons. I probably have so many cool things in my storage that I just haven't used yet. But before we could get to that, on day 921, it was time to finish our trophy room. As you can see right now, we have one little path and a whole lot of lava, and what I'm placing in right now are invisible blocks. I mean, literally, like, the blocks are completely invisible. Like, that's what the block is called, invisible decoration block. The goal here for this trophy room is to seem like you're walking on lava, even though you'll be completely safe because there are invisible blocks. There are a couple problems though. These invisible blocks are pretty expensive, okay? They're not like iron level expensive, they're like diamond / emerald level. So for the next 5 days, I'm gonna be crafting as many invisible blocks as I can and then placing the blocks in. Oh, did I forget to mention how hard it is to place in the blocks? If I forget where I left off, I have to go block by block to see where there isn't like an outline because the blocks are literally invisible. Yes, this was definitely a gruesome task and definitely not my favorite. I took some breaks by learning about the 13 different types of netherrack there is. How cool. Did you know that there was blue netherrack? I didn't. I even started decorating the area where the floor was made, and I put in those arcane pedestals that allow these trophies to float all magical like, and I love it. Oh yeah, and I still need to place in the rest of the floor because most of it is still lava. Look at me go. I'm a trooper at 10 times speed. And just when I thought the floor was done, there's always an empty spot, but I never know where, and I fall down in the lava and get hurt. But finally, after checking every single block individually, I would say the floor is complete. And I already put in most of the trophies in. It's just not decorated yet, but I was gonna do that some other time. I mean, I'm pretty impressed with myself on this one. I'm an epic gamer. Day 927, before starting on another building project, I thought it would be cool to make another weapon. But that weapon needs rubber in order to make, but luckily there is a thing called rubber trees, so I was just gonna grow this and cut it down, and I'm dying inside the tree. Get me out of here now. Whoa! Turns out these trees are really big. Oh, that's gonna be a lot of rubber. Well, let's cut it down, but this is definitely gonna break my diamond axe, so rip axe. I got a little bit of a lag spike, but that is satisfying. As you guys know, if you cut the bottom of any tree in modded Minecraft, it breaks down the entire thing. And that thing I'm holding, that's rubber, and now I have a whole lot of it. The next day, you're probably asking, what kind of weapon are you trying to make, Soxer One? What could be better than the minigun? Well, this thing right here. That's right, a pistol. There's actually nothing special about it. I just felt it would be cool, and I would feel like Hitman or something. I'll be honest, it was pretty fun to shoot around. I mean, it was a fun weapon. And you want to know what happens when you combine 2 pistols together? Dual wielding, baby. They're really weak though, but they were fun to use, so I'm gonna do something else now. It was time to start on another project, or I mean finish a project that's been ongoing, and that is finishing my castle pillars. I have 4 huge pillars to finish, and the hardest part is that I'm using different blocks, so it has like a texture and everything. So that means I have to constantly switch blocks while I'm building this thing in order to make it look good, and that just takes forever. People always ask me, Soxer One, why don't you stream this hardcore series? This is the exact reason why. Most of the time, I just have to grind something out in order to make something look amazing. So yeah, here's me building really fast. And oh, I don't know if you noticed those 2 trees in the background. I decided I really liked them, and I decided to keep them. This took me 7 days to complete, and I didn't sleep during the night, so I was actually working for 14 days straight because I just kept on going. And boom, it's all done. I just have to cover the black box, but other than that, those 4 pillars are done. Yay! And here's a quick look from the other side. You can see that I'm trying to build a castle on top of the already built castle, so it's just one big mega castle. Day 936, I had to make sure I was feeding my black hole, because if I didn't, then it would destroy my entire base. Believe it or not, the machines that are keeping the black hole from destroying my base are actually powered by the black hole, so if I don't feed my black hole, we all die. I feel like I've been neglecting my armory for a while, so I was like, why not just spend a little bit of time and put some armor on the armor stand? So that's what I did. It wasn't exactly perfect or matching, but but it started making the area look a little better. Some of the stuff looked really funny and cool, like these giant swords from the Twilight Dimension. But overall, this was definitely a good idea. For the next 2 days, I didn't know what project to start on, so I kind of just messed around a little bit. I was just looking at some cool things that I could make, and I ended up making this like golden cross because it looked cool. I am a holy man. I do not hold hands till marriage, nor do I put my Minecraft bed next to any girl. Also, after doing research on this weapon, it's supposed to do extra damage to the undead, but honestly, it really doesn't. So I made another weapon. This one was called a serpent staff. I mean, that sounds pretty cool. So I tested it against the Mafia Bee, and it did like no damage. It fired like these tiny slime balls, and nope, nothing. At least I can put them in my armory and they can float around. I also put some other weapons like this M4 assault rifle, and it looks amazing. And to make these 2 days even weirder, I took my saw bench and I sawed this diamond into a diamond spear, and I placed it right in the middle of my base so it would break everyone's mind. What a beautiful 2 days I had. It was day 939, and I decided I wanted to finish my train station, aka sock station. The hard part is deciding what to build this place out of, and I started chiseling some iron blocks, and honestly, the iron blocks don't look so good. I just didn't like any of those blocks. I decided just to go with a plain, standard, really smooth stone design. The reason is because I felt like the stone bricks were too much, and the more plain design would allow me to decorate the area more later. So I just spent one more day filling it all in, but it's really no problem with the magic wand. And just a little bit more, and boom, it's done. It looks kind of plain and not so great, but when I start adding some trees and some decoration, it's gonna look amazing. But that's not what I'm gonna focus on right now. What I'm gonna focus on now on day 941 is actually making this a train station. I'm gonna try to explain this in a way everyone can understand, because honestly, I go big brain mumbo jumbo redstone here. As you guys know, I want to make this an actual train station that is automatic, so with a press of a button, the train should take me to where I want to go. For example, the end or the swamp. This is not easy to do because when I press the button of where I want to go, like the end, redstone has to automatically change the track so the train goes to the right destination. Are you still with me? Because if I was watching this, I would be probably completely lost. Basically, after 5 days, I got something to work where I go over this pressure plate that is turning off the redstone lamp. That means the train will no longer go to the swamp, it should go to my base. So you can see here that this track is now straight, so the train would go straight. But sadly, everything I built just didn't work in the long run, so I had to scratch all of it. I'm just gonna Thanos snap again and show you the complete project. I probably spent like 50 days on this, but I was so focused, I completely lost track. Get it? Tracks, you know, like I'm using tracks to build, so I'm losing complete track. Okay, I'm not funny. Okay, look, it's done. I built like this entire redstone computer. Can you just like smash like and subscribe? Like, I made this. Look at this. I am in train and I am going forward, but now I selected that I wanted to go to the end, so look. My train is going to the left and it's gonna loop around and it's gonna go all the way to the end. Look, it's gonna go right now. Wow, amazing. Oh, but what happens if I select base now and I go on the train? What's gonna happen? What? I'm in the train? Am I gonna go left towards the end? What? I didn't go left. I went straight. Oh, look at this. It's going around my base because that's what I selected it to do. If you really want to know how it works, I can make another video on another channel. But anyway, we finished the train station. I mean, it works. We still got to make it pretty, but let's do something else now. It is day 952, and oh my goodness, Socks for One, what are you already building? Well, you know how we were talking earlier, I wish I had a place where I could test out all my new weapons? Well, I'm gonna make that possible by making a weapon testing range. The goal is to have a zombie spawner on the other side of these sandbags, and then we would be able to choose and pick the weapons we wanted to test out on the zombies. I know, I'm full of great ideas, but I wish those great ideas came when I had to choose between the 20 different types of blocks because of the chisel. I ended up going with this block. I don't know why, it just seemed like the right block to go with. Ah, yes, day 954, more building. It was definitely the right block to go with. I even went with these warning / hazard kind of blocks to warn you to go into this area because it's like, in quotations, dangerous. Honestly, one of my favorite builds so far. Actually, when I looked at it right away, it looks like a weapon range, and now all I had to do was add a path. And I also added a slab roof because you just can't go wrong with slabs. They're just so good looking. But I always struggle with the last part, and that's choosing a light source because right now it's completely dark and that doesn't look good. I decided I wanted to go with redstone lamps, so on day 956 I went to the nether to get a lot of glowstone. I ended up dyeing those lamps white because it was just gonna be a really nice blend between the walls and the roof. Ah, it started to look really good, except except for the floor. It's too dark. Talking about the floor, I spent the next day just expanding the floor because the zombies don't need that much room to spawn. Also started putting these lights on the floor, and I really didn't like them, but I didn't know what else to do. I took some more time to think about it, and I started placing on the spawners on day 958. If you don't recognize these spawners, these are the same I used for my Beanos mob grinder for my XP. So I crafted up 2 zombie spawners that took all my XP levels, but it's gonna be worth it for this. I don't know if these spawners work like the same as regular spawners. Like, does it need to be completely dark? I have no idea. So I just put in this dark glass, which takes out the light, but then again, there's light on the floor. I don't know what I'm doing. And when I did take out the floor light, it just looked horrible. Like, what am I witnessing? The next day, it was time to test it all out, so I started hooking up the spawners to some power, and now zombies should start spawning. Hey, so they do spawn even if there's light. That's great news. So now they should... Oh, he's not supposed to be able to get out over the sandbags. What are the point of them now? Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no. Dr. One is panicking. I gotta turn this on, but they keep on spawning. Oh, why are they spawning so fast? Why are there so many of them? All right, boom. Detached. Okay, we gotta just change a couple things. It is day 960, and the first thing I'm gonna do is fill this entire area with glass so they can't jump out. And they spawn even if there's light, so I'm gonna do some research to get a really strong light source that's just gonna bright up everything. And that's exactly what I did. I did some research and I learned how to make a floodlight. If you don't know what a floodlight is, it's exactly what they use in like football stadiums and stuff to light up the field. So I can't wait to turn this thing on. Next day, I just started connecting my power energy rods to the spawners. I mean my floodlights, because I'm actually putting them here on the ground. The wiring was a little different because it uses a different mod, but I could already see that they were working. Then shabam shaboom, I'm just turning this floodlight to turn to the middle, and oh yes, the whole area is completely lit up. Also placed these spawners on the ground because since light doesn't matter, it looks way better on the ground than it was on the ceiling. Day 962, I just had to do a little bit of redstone because I can't have these spawners on all the time, right? I should be able to flick a lever that turns on the spawners, so that's when I can test out my weapon. And that's exactly what I did, and it worked beautifully, and no zombies came outside the cage this time. It needs a little bit of reworking, but it's ready now, and I want to test out some stuff. Haha, the next day we started testing out weapons like dual-wield pistols, the tri-bow, the flamethrower, ho 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 ho. And recently, our new addition, the absolute devastation. Just log out because you're done. Somehow, after all of that, there was a baby zombie that escaped, but it was no regular baby zombie. Like, he was Sonic fast. I decided I wanted to keep him, so I got a name tag named Henry, trapped in the corner, and I named him. I didn't want Henry to be there and wanted to build him a nicer area, so I caught him with this Pokeball and decided to build him something nice. Day 964, I found a perfect spot for Henry, and I knew that I'm gonna make this place look fabulous. When I mean fabulous, I mean use as many riches as I can. This was Henry's throne we were talking about, so I made the entire floor made out of emeralds. It's thrown out of diamonds and then surround it with gold. It looks a little bit off right now, but I just need to work on it. And I continued the next day to make it even more fabulous. Once the throne was finished, I placed a couple invisible blocks. That way, when I spawn in Henry, he wouldn't be able to escape. I was a little bit nervous when I placed him down, but boom, bam, it seemed to work perfectly. You can't see his name tag through blocks though, but it still looks pretty good. Oh, and I added some vines on the outside because honestly, the room stands out a little too much. While we're at it making things nice, I decided why not just spend a couple days to make everything perfect. Starting by putting slabs in the weapon testing area, that way baby zombies can't get out. And fixing the lighting above a little bit. Small little changes make a big difference. I liked Henry's room as well, but it stood out too much, so I started adding some variety. I also learned if you just left click a block with a chisel, it automatically changes it to a different form. This was a lifesaver, and I did this to all the blocks, and it already made the room look 10 times better. I think I might be spoiling Henry a little bit. Everything in my base had a certain style, except for this tunnel. I knew I had to make some changes. I just tried to keep the same pattern from my main room and carry it over to the hallway. I kind of struggled to create that same feel again, and I think it was because I just been building too much lately. Ba-boom, this is what I got so far, and it looks pretty good. It needs some work, but I'll do it later. Day 971, I was back at my weapon range, and I decided the whole point of this is so I could classify different weapons and see how cool or even how strong they are. For example, I just found this railgun in my storage system, and I need to test it out how strong it is. Oh, that's a cool charging effect. It must massive damage. No, that wasn't that much damage. Oh, that's really weak. So I'd probably put that railgun at a very low tier, but I just realized that I should probably color code this grading system I got here with the item frames. So that's what I did. On the right, we got the copper, which is the lowest rank, while all the way to the left, we have the Futura blocks that look very epic. And boom, this is the final product. I put the bow as the weakest, lowest ranked weapon because that's what it is, but I still don't know what the strongest is all the way at the left. And I put the railgun as an iron rank because it was stronger than the bow, but it was still really weak. Day 972 was gonna be a fun day because I have so many random weapons in my storage system that I just never used before. You remember this bad boy? Well, it's back and it is beautiful. I seriously can't get over how amazing this weapon is. Honestly, I will probably put it back as one of my main weapons again. And we got some newcomers like this sniper rifle, 360 no scope, Face Clan. Where are you at? Why aren't you hiring me? Look at that. I can quick scope as well. So far, it's going very smoothly. I could even rate all the weapons to where their strength levels were, and I can have more fun with them. Next up, the ender bow. Oh, it just teleported me where the arrow has been shot. That's not very good at this moment. Why do I want to go towards my enemy? I want to stay at a safe distance. Next up, the sawed-off shotgun. Wow, this brings some Doom vibes already. I like it. And of course, the classic minigun. Yup, this is still my favorite weapon of all time. Since that was all taken care of the next day, it was time to work on something else. But as you guys know, this machine right here has been making me plastic for the last 70 days. I use that to make black plastic blocks because I want to make this room my spaceship / galaxy room, and it has to be completely dark. I built as much as I could, but I only had a couple stacks of it because plastic just takes so long to make. This is why we have to go to 2,000 days so I can finish this room. So smash like if you haven't already. It was day 974. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but this was my old base. I wanted to transform this to something special, and I had the perfect idea. I was gonna turn this place into a dinosaur park, or also known as Jurassic Sock. The first thing I set up was this auto track builder to build rails going from my current base all the way to Jurassic Park. Before I started researching all about dinosaurs, I just cleaned up my inventory, and I even got a new pet that allows me to see in the dark. It basically gives me night vision, called the Ocelot pet. This will just make my life and your lives easier, because now I can just see in the dark and also work through most nights. Nonetheless, it was time to research some dinosaurs, but this time I was going to use a different dinosaur mod called Jurassic Craft. So for the next 4 days, I'm just going to be researching dinosaurs from fossils so I can get myself a T-Rex, because that's all I want. I'm doing it all differently this time because I made a mistake by making my cage way too small for my dinosaurs, and all of them ended up dying, so I want to change all that. I went through about 200 fossils and I only got one T-Rex out of it, but I did get a match, and look, it's my T-Rex growing. I ended up getting a lot of dinosaurs, but the problem is getting a very large area for them to live happily, and that's where Jurassic Sock will come to play. It is day 979, and look, my auto track builder is still going. Nonetheless, I have to turn this old base into a habitable area for dinosaurs, and we're gonna start by clearing things up with TNT, and then a lot of mining, and spending the entire whole next day clearing up the whole top half of the castle because it was just really ugly. It's pretty sad to see me destroy the things I built, but then again, it's also satisfying to see how far I come and how easy it is for me to destroy and build new things. Now the fun part begins. I have to start outlining how big Jurassic Sock will be because I can't just let the dinosaurs run wild. I ended up building this stone pattern all the way around, but that stone is gonna have to turn into a giant fence. I also have to clear out old paths because now I have to put dirt everywhere. I had to fill dirt all the way to the fences because everything has to be even. It's one giant park. It was a lot of dirt, man. Like a lot. But on the next day, it was all finished now. Everything was even, and you can now see this turning into a park. The castle would be turned into a laboratory where I would research new dinosaurs, and also where the train would arrive from my current base. Day 983, you're probably wondering where I am. Well, currently I'm in the Erebus dimension, also known as the bug dimension, cutting down trees. The reason is because I want to build a fence around Jurassic Sock that needs a lot of wood, but I decided why not use some sort of modded wood, so here I am. After a whole day's work, I had plenty of wood, so now I could head back and start working on my fence. The next day when I got back, I was actually messing around in the weapons room because I am addicted to this room. It is so much fun. Fun time was over, and it was time to start working on this fence. For the next 4 days, I'm gonna be working on this fence, and even during the nights because it is a lengthy process. I couldn't use my magic wand either, so I had to place each block individually. Probably asking, why are you going for this weird slab fence design? And I'll be honest, I looked at all the modded fences and they all look terrible. This was the best looking option in my opinion. I was just building all around the park, and I wasn't worrying about making any sort of towers or anything, so the fence actually looks like more of a fence. I just wanted to finish this and work on details. detail later. But finally, after 4 days, I finished the fence all around the park, and you gotta admit, it's a pretty cool fence design. It works out. I was getting ready to make some cages for the T-Rexes and all, but then I noticed a problem right away. This does not look like a T-Rex cage. It looks like where all the fun and herbivore eating grass Pokemon dinosaurs would be. And honestly, it just felt way too small. Like when I imagine a T-Rex, I think like a big open jungle and it's like a huge cage with one giant T-Rex in it, you know? This was just not there yet. Day 988, with only a couple days remaining, I didn't have time to spawn in the T-Rex and get some cool cages. Instead, I had another mission. My goal was to go to Mars, but I couldn't go to Mars because I still didn't have the blueprint for a tier 2 rocket in order to go to Mars. That meant I had to go fly to the moon again and go through some more dungeons and hopefully get a spaceship blueprint. All the blueprints I've been getting is for this buggy that I'm riding now because I built it because why not? Hold on, wait a minute. This buggy is actually fire. It goes so fast, man. Someone called the police, man. I'm going way over the speed limit. Next day was a big day because we're going back to the moon again. I could do this 100 times. It's always so cool. I wasn't stressing out too much of getting the right supplies here because I do have somewhat of a moon base here that gives me infinite oxygen, so I'm kind of in the clear right now. Using my new moon buggy, I just traveled over the moon until I found another dungeon place to go to. I don't think this is faster than flying, but it's definitely way cooler. And I found one. I had some pretty intense battles before the actual boss fight, but all in all, we were all good. When I got to the boss room, I let him throw me around a little bit because actually I find it really, really funny. Especially that laugh. And boom, bam, I just deleted him. This death scream gets me every time. I can't get over it. And it was our lucky day. We got the spaceship schematic. That means we can make the tier 2 rocket and go to Mars. I was so excited. I didn't even take the spaceship back home. I just used the home pet. Day 990, and this was it, man. I was just gonna make myself a rocket to Mars. Except making a rocket to Mars is pretty hard. So yeah, you could just slash out those 9 days because your boy was just grinding and getting those materials in order just to make the rocket. On top of that, I really didn't feel like making some sort of breathable air source on Mars. So instead, I just crafted up 10 oxygen tanks and fill them all with oxygen here on Earth. That way I could last maybe 5 hours on Mars. I definitely equipped myself with backups of everything because this was gonna be a tough challenge. Day 999, the biggest day of all my days. I double checked to make sure I was all ready and I entered into my tier 2 rocket. This one had thrusters on it, so it looked extra special, and it even moved twice as fast upwards, so I was zooming out of my base. When I entered Mars, I was really confused for a moment because I don't know what I was looking at. I was a pile of balls and I was just dropping real fast, and then I started bouncing. Did I just become a bouncy ball? Is this how people land on Mars? I mean, we don't know, but I mean, is this how they will do it? Turns out they're balloons, and oh my goodness, I'm on Mars. Why is no one freaking out? What I noticed right away is that there was like nothing here. It was all orange, and even the gravity was so much weaker than on the moon. I was jumping like 10 blocks high. I started flying around it, and honestly, there was nothing. It was just red sand or red Mars blocks all the way around. I just kept on flying until I found some sort of cave, but then the nighttime fell and it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And hey, look, it's an egg. I will take it. Luckily, I brought my ocelot pet, so I had night vision so I could still see, but mobs started to spawn. I was nearly 6,000 meters away from my home base and it was just still all of the same. This couldn't be real. My timer struck telling me it was day 1000, and that's also when I came across the first Mars dungeon. I was quite scared because I had no idea what was waiting for me because I did no research. This dungeon reminded me of the moon dungeon, but also a lot creepier. The sounds from these walls sounds like I'm underwater. I took out my sniper and I was already alerted with something new. The creepers moved so fast. They were literally ninja Sonic people. They were really hard to kill and I had to be careful not to be blown up. There was already a huge difference between this dungeon and the moon dungeon. This one was far longer and I felt like I was going through this maze for a long time. And that's when I found it, the treasure chest room. But then I was like, how is this possible? The treasure chest room is supposed to be after the boss fight. You can't go to the treasure room without defeating the boss, and I can't even open the chest because you need the key that is dropped when defeating the boss. I started panicking. I thought I missed it, so I started digging around to make sure I didn't miss any rooms or anything, but I couldn't find anything. I didn't want to do any research either because I didn't want to spoil the boss for me, so I just left. I'm pretty sure it's a glitch and that's not supposed to happen, and I'm just gonna go find myself another dungeon. I thought I failed because I thought I didn't have enough time to find the other dungeon because it took me so much time to find the first one. The Minecraft Minecraft gods must have been watching. I found another dungeon right around the corner, and I was hoping to find the boss this time. I went through the maze as quick as I could and made sure to look at every corner to make sure I wouldn't miss the boss room. I thought I was out of luck again, but then I found the secret corridor that was right next to the other one, and this was it. The boss fight. I had no idea what to expect, and I was already nervous. Oh my goodness. That is a three-headed creeper with a space helmet. This guy wasn't messing around. He was spraying TNT at me that I was avoiding, but when I was returning fire with my sniper, it wasn't doing any damage. No matter how many shots I put into him, it just didn't do anything to his health bar. I saw these eggs all around the boss room that when exploded, they spawn a baby creeper. I assumed if I took out all the baby creepers, then he would be vulnerable to damage. So that was my goal, to eliminate all the baby creepers around, no matter how adorable they look. But then they started zooming and I could barely hit him. I kind of gave up on shooting the little creepers and decided maybe I just have to shoot the creeper man in the right spot, and oh, I can redirect his TNT shots and those do damage. It all makes sense now, and oh, one of his heads just been taken out. I'm doing it right now. Also just found out just using my hand or this fish was way easier to redirect this TNT, and oh, he was down to one head, but he looked much stronger. They started shooting out TNT at like a hyper speed, and I had trouble hitting them back. But finally, I lined up one TNT perfectly, and I did it. All his heads are down, and I've beaten the boss on Mars. And perfect timing as well, as I completely finished 1,000 days in modded hardcore Minecraft. And I didn't even realize it. I was actually seconds away from dying. My oxygen was all the way to 1%. I didn't even realize it till I opened my inventory and quickly switched it out with a full tank of oxygen. I was able to take the key and open the chest and got some decent stuff and even a new schematic. Honestly, a really cool ending to our 1,000 day series, but it just can't stop here. We gotta go for another 1,000 days. We still have to explore all the other planets in the galaxy and finish amazing projects like Jurassic Sock. I need to ride a T-Rex. If you made it this far, congratulations. You earned yourself 10 gold stars, but don't click away yet. I'm gonna be answering some questions that you guys were burning to ask. First question is, why don't I use the EMC mod? This mod pack was designed to be balanced. So the mod to craft the EMC crafting table, the one that allows you to like duplicate items and stuff like that, it's been completely changed, and it's nearly impossible to craft until the very, very late game. And this is another reason why we should go to 2,000 days, because there are some weapons and stuff out there that it's gonna take a long time to get, but we could probably get by the end of 2,000 days. Like seriously OP stuff, and even some bosses that we haven't fought yet that would kill me right now. And I prefer it that way because what's the point of playing Minecraft if you aren't gonna be like grinding for materials and everything? Other OP items like duplicator trees from ore spawn, those are banned. This makes it a lot more fun. Second most question, isn't he basically unkillable? Isn't that the same in vanilla Minecraft? Once you start getting netherite or protection 4 and diamond armor, you're basically unkillable. At least, I mean, for me, right? Minecraft isn't really about the bosses and fights and stuff like that, which this mod pack has a ton of, but it's also about creating the coolest stuff in the world, right? So yeah, get those questions out of here. If you have any more questions, just put them on my Reddit or something. I think that was all the announcements. Go join my server, socks.gg.